Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us as we track spring storms on the way to New Zealand out of Australia. There's a large area of low pressure at the moment. One big low between Tasmania and the South Island, the other one here in southern parts of Australia. These two lows are basically going to be dominating our weather across the two nations for the next several days, and they will be merging together here, producing plenty of windy weather, wet weather, and a cold change coming for some parts of New Zealand as well. We've got the UV map here as well. We've been talking about this off and on a wee bit lately, and I'm going to continue to do it. And I'll tell you why. I got a little bit sunburnt yesterday, which surprised me because it was the very end of the day. And I always think that when a weather forecaster gets sunburnt, it's a little bit like a policeman getting a speeding ticket. It's not supposed to happen. So I wanted to remind everybody, this is the UV map for 1 o'clock today. Basically, it shows you where the sun is closest to the earth. It's got that circular shape to it. But you can now see the North Island is into that pink-purple zone. That basically shows very high to extreme UV rays. And so as we continue to head towards the longest day of the year at the end of December, this blob slowly moves further down over New Zealand, which means our UV rays, it goes up, it increases. The concentration over New Zealand definitely goes up. So this is one to keep an eye on, the UV rays, sunburn times and all that kind of stuff. Now is the time of year to really seriously take note of it, especially in northern New Zealand right now, but to be honest with you, the whole country. And let's, moving off from UV rays, but let's stick with temperatures now, because we've still got plenty of heat on the way, which is part of the reason why I was thinking about taking care outdoors. More likely to be outside if it's hot. UV rays, doesn't matter if it's hot or cold, they still exist. So even with the cold change coming in for southern areas in the next few days, the UV rays won't be changing a lot. What changes the UV rays is how thick the clouds are in the area. In fact, just quickly going back, notice that blob there around Fiji? That's where it's cloudier, and that's why you're not seeing the UV rays coming through as much. Clearer skies around it, higher the concentration. So Saturday's departure from normal, much warmer than average right across New Zealand. Some here in the south, northern Southland and central Otago, some of you will be over 8 degrees above average on Saturday afternoon. But contrast that with Australia, this zone, 8 degrees below average, and the dark blue 4 to 8 degrees below average. So certainly Melbourne, Hobart, Adelaide in particular, much cooler than usual. 15 degrees in this zone versus 35 up there. So that's quite a cold change, and that is what is on its way towards New Zealand. So here is the setup as we go through Friday, the end of the week. Low number 1 dropping away. Low number 2 coming out of New South Wales and Canberra and heading out towards the Tasman. There's a front that links those two low pressure zones up. Typical kind of front moving up the country, and big windy nor'westers ahead of it. There'll be severe gale through the southern Alps and in some coastal areas, places like Cook Strait. As we head into the weekend, we've got two areas of low pressure. The main one coming out of Australia, still connecting to the other one, which has kind of disappeared off the map. But it's sort of like one disappears and the other one sort of takes over. So in comes the next one on Saturday. Saturday itself around New Zealand, warm nor'westers for the North Island, but a colder change in the South Island. Your temperatures start to drop. As we get into Sunday, more low pressure out of the Tasman Sea, windy weather continues on, and with high pressure just to the north, that's going to put a bit more of a squeeze on those winds. So gusts to gale force on Sunday out of the northwest, and wet weather back again on the western side, which should clear up to showers by the end of the day. And over in Australia, there comes the big cold, more wintry change, another southerly change on the way. So we kick off next week, and it's pretty spring-like / winter-like for some parts of Australia. Look at all that windy, cold, wet weather. So that next big pulse of cold weather, which you can see here, is coming to New Zealand for the following day. Monday's not it. Monday's got the warm nor'westers, more rain, more wind through the southern Alps, and a few showers in the west. Otherwise, pretty much dry and warm on Monday in many places. But we get to Tuesday and it totally changes. Big, strong westerlies across the country. The dark blue line comes up from that Australian cold change and spreads in over the South Island. So if you think Saturday's a cool change, wait till you get to Tuesday. It gets even colder for some of you. But the big windy westerlies means that those further north, in Canterbury for example, may not be too bad. But there will be a cooler change coming through across most of New Zealand by Tuesday and Wednesday next week. But the main theme next week, The windy westerlies return. You know, the relatives, the westerlies turning back up again, the car's loaded, the dog's in the back, and that windy westerly weather is going to be hanging around for all of next week. It's spring, normal weather, I'll keep saying that. That's all from me. We'll see you again tomorrow, final one for the week. Have a great rest of your day.